We are a false context of God because we are an illusion, expressing illusion, but even that illusion, to some smaller degree, it's a lesser percent of real, because everybody could play any role. Anybody could be an advocate for any advocate. Anybody could be a devil for an advocate, and anybody could be an advocate for a devil. And anybody could just be a devil in themselves, but only they could attempt to do so. They could strive to be, yearn to be, hanker to be, want to be, wanna be, but that's not to negate the percentage of some type of realness, because even though we're in an illusion, expressing illusion, it's still a smaller percentage of realness. So to some small degree, that's the essence of potentiality in itself, because there's that potential to have a particular type of upgrade, but we don't know the whole dynamic and the whole component array range of what's actually giving us the upgrade in itself. So it's like we're a false context of God, but that doesn't mean it's entirely false. We're still real, but in this context, we're a false context of God because we're in an illusion, expressing illusion, going towards more illusion. So that's the essence of going towards quote unquote hell, end quote, on a neutral scientific level. And that's just what it is already doing in itself right now. Self-proven, self-existing, emanatory being the evidence of whatever is, has its own range of like a false light, elusive light, to a real light, to a non-elusive light, and we have a lesser percentage of the real light, which is God, which is the in between the refraction and the reflection of how a non-dense object of a lesser object, which is more so light in its own field frequency range, is splitting apart to go away and to hold the contrast between anything, any object or any field of density in itself. So it's like we could all play a part, and it's a deep neutrality because we're playing a part. We're like everybody is auditioning for just what they could become. That's the essence of like Beyond the Gita, because it's just all objectile, it's all objectovile, meaning an object within an object within an object is trying to aspire to be something, transition to be something just on an energetic level. And shout out to how all of the, GHs, whatever, they play on this, theater. They play on this theater of how this theater of four expresses itself in casual ways, and how we don't necessarily know what we're using. We don't necessarily know what we are, but I only say that because that's our unconscious state, but we still have remnants of a non-unconscious, which is just a standard general conscious state, a waking consciousness of the humans, of us, etc. And what that really does, it has the percentage of some type of revealance, some type of realness within its own totality that's compressed within all the other components of what anything could be, that is coming from wholeness and, with wholeness and expressing wholeness in a very unique way, respectively. And I mean it scientifically and neutrally, mind you, directly. So we're all like aspiring to be something. We're all auditioning though. But what are we auditioning for? If we're trying to play the part, if we're trying to if something has scientifically influenced us, a different context of imposed, if something has imposed on us for the better, the balanced better of just okay, we could be this, our dad is generally all of our dads are imposing us. It's like our first role model of what does it really mean to be a man in society. And it's not to say that your dad's the only example. It's just but energetically it's like the first within this Stargate life portal. But obviously you got other people there too, so there's multiple different influences, but neutrally your dad is on an energy level, it's one of the main ones pretty much. Unless you're talking about the original spiritual world, then it's it's casually intertwined and differentiated at the same time. So like what I'm really saying is like, you know, if there's the main example I wanted to bring was like, if there's already like this spiritual thing of some type of quote unquote context of a reaper, end quote, then what the human world is doing and the elusive world is doing is people are pretending to be that, but within that pretend, they could ultimately somehow by some anomaly go towards some sort of realness based on the balance and the chaos that they could balance, you know? But that's the thing, it's like too much chaos, it's like, that's like some type of explosion is bound to happen, and that's just alchemy, that's just the play of alchemy in itself. But it's like people are auditioning, like people are trying to be like, you know what, we're being influenced on a constant basis. So this constant basis of influence, you can't really judge anybody because we're being spoon-fed on a certain frequential level of the external news media that this is what is being fed to us. So it's like, it's being like concise and particular with your attention, you know? We can only give our attention to so much things outside of this box and what that external notion of a narrative faction is promoting. So within that promotion, we only have a certain amount of time in the day to actually choose what we focus on, choose what we have attention to based on, you know, God's, you know, miraculous, you know, grace or whatever, to give us like attention to begin with, to give us, you know, light to begin with, to give us, you know, constructive nature, which is, that could be applied to anything on a deeper original level. And what I mean by deeper original is like just going like way deeper than like on a balanced level, so we could see where we're going, because to ultimately know where we're going, we have to have a nuance of where we're coming from. And that principle of reflection, or that principle of science, has already been reflected like on a different archive. So because like honestly, I'm open to all the questions, for one. For two, you know, something's pacing all of this rhythm, because sometimes you can't get all of too much at one time. It's like, what is like, you know, what does like infinity really mean, you know? Like who's really like that's, where is that, you know, where is infinity? So within that, where is infinity, where God's actually testing us, and he's putting through the standard alchemical test process to see if we could audition for the real original infinity. Because like people like want to be like these fake like murderers, but like within that fakeness, like who's to say like how it becomes real, you know, how it transitions to be like, okay, they're auditioning.